There you go, adding video to radio again.
You don't want to do that.
It's rough and tough out here too, but I ain't complaining.
Uh-oh.
The stations around
We got the Australian guy that says cop pickup.
Come on. And there you go.
And I do think we are listening to the old Tube Radio Network. We're trying to anyway. We wish we could.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
I see they toned it down a little bit tonight. The Old Tube Radio Network. Hello, radio. You can hear Australia and Hawaii on the West Coast coming in here tonight. I got in late, so I didn't get a chance to listen into too much of the old radio night to see what was happening out there. But no doubt they were doing some skip land as well. DX conditions, the SFI sunspot numbers are up, although right at the moment, let me see if I can bring up the map. Right at the moment, it's not looking too good for any local short hop, what do I call it, sporadic E settings. If we go to the DX map, but it's still open a little bit on 15, 20 meters from the West Coast to Hawaii and out that way. So we'll see if any of our stations from the Pacific Northwest have a chance to get in tonight. We'd love to hear you if you are around. Hello, my name is Dennis. You are net control for the Old Tube Radio Network, a voluntary association of people who are interested in the workings and the dealings of those old tube radios from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s that were the Class D 11-meter citizen radio service. Well, the radio service is still around. You don't hear many of the tube radios unless you are tuning in right here, channel 1127-085 or oldtuberadio.net on the audio side, and there is some type of video thing happening where we will chat with our shortwave listeners and then beacon out to the old tube radio operators and collectors for them to share their latest, greatest, and best with us tonight. And also we ask you to chime in on any of the chats and let us know what you are doing as well. With that said, let's go over to the shortwave listeners and get the roll call going. I know there is still a little bit of skip running, so if we can't hear you or you don't hear me, we will be here until 10 o'clock tonight. And we'll venture to get you checked in. If you're playing the home game, this is week 7 for 10/8/2022. Might look like that, and we will get started off with 00. Hello, radio.
Hello, Dennis. 00 checking in. Thank you, Dennis.
Wow. Hey, this here's King Abdullah over here with the Raider tube linear thing. I talked to you a couple weeks ago.
All right, 00. Abdullah listening in, the Old Tube Radio Network, something we do on this channel every Saturday from 8 to 10. Thanks for joining us. Sounding good, Joe. We'll call you at the regular spot. Let me take a pause now to see if there are any stations that would like to check in early. I see some of you online. We will get to you then. The Echo link is up and running. We will jump in and out of that as we go along. If you've got an SWL number and you need to check in that way, we will try to do that. So are there any stations that would like to check in early or need to check in early over the air? OTR is listening.
SWL 24.
All right, 24 is in. Joseph, I've got you. You're looking good. We've got the X and the square. Thanks.
KB6 EFD, AJ6 PD, SWL 145. Request an early check-in, please.
All right, there's Tony, SWL 145, checking in via the Echo link. Don't forget to unkey the transmitter, Tony, but we've got you checked in. I heard you on the Echo link on the Friday night net, or rather on the Saturday morning net, and you were sounding good there on, let's go with the Friday morning net. You were sounding good on the Friday morning net, and we've got you checked in. Thanks, Tony, 146. 145 up there in Corsgold, who is doing a remote check-in, so we've got you checked in. No problem. KB6GFD. All right, anyone else that needs an early check-in before we continue?
Well, this is the King Abdullah. I'll just be kicking back reading the mail for now, but I'll be listening in on you.
All right, and I hear you, Sean, out there in Sangertown. You never know where the skip is going to be, so I've got you checked in now, and hopefully we'll be able to chat a little bit on the radios as things progress. We're out of our gray line right now, or pretty much, but as you can hear, the Pacific is coming through tonight. We'll see what happens. We've got a check-in for SWL number 1 via the comic. Or the comic, yeah, he would love it. He was a comic via the cosmic side. And over to SWL2, Mr. OBP, who I believe is out on the video channel. So we want to say hello to Kevin and ask him some questions. He says, no, don't ask me any questions. No, ask him some questions. He'll answer them for you. Okay, 2 is in. I've got a proxy check-in for SWL3. That is Mr. Lone Eagle. I'm getting a little feedback tonight. Let me turn this down. I may have the headphoniums up too loud tonight. We were discussing that on the 7199 thing the other night about the open back and the closed back headphones. I don't know. I'd love to have some open headphones, but I think I would have massive problems with feedback. Let's go all the way up to SWL7.
SWL7, checking in.
All right, and a portent of things to come. I like the sound of that radio. We'll be reserving a spot for you on the list.
Yes, he does sound like he has a big radio there, no doubt about it.
7 is in. Let's go to... I'm looking to see if Chrissy is in yet. Out of Colorado, Dwayne and Chrissy out of Colorado, up in Idaho. You can tell it has been an extremely long day today. But the old Tube Radio Network is the place to relax, tune on the radios, and have a great time. That's what we are going to do. Let's get a check-in for SWL 11. Cornbread is on frequency and saying hello radio. 11 is in. And then we will all check our dapperness as we look for and possibly where it's looking for SWL 12. I see you there. Dapper Dan. I'm pretty close today. I'm checking my tie looks pretty darn good. I'm not too mussed up. The pocket protector is in line. All the buttons are buttoned, so I'm neck and neck up there with Dapper Dan and the Dapper Department. SWL12, it should click in when I hit the button and saying that you are checked in. Kaboom, there it is. Thanks for joining us, as always. Let's go to SWL13. SWL13 Mystic Cobra, you can, and it is possible to check in via the YouTube side, oldtuberadio.net. I will keep an eye out on the listings as they scroll past. And I miss them. I will try to re-scroll and make sure I don't miss anybody. SWL14, moments ago, checking in from beautiful uptown Sanger. Looking for SWL 16, and it's I never have to look far. Joining us behind all the screenery here, everything looks good. So yeah, we are planning a very low key evening tonight, so that I will have enough energy to make it through things. So everything looks good. I see the pocket protector pen is ready to go. So all is good. Thank you, Charlie, out there in Anoka, Minnesota. Over to SWL 17. SWL 18, we'll get Mikey checked in via the Facebook page. There is a Facebook, Old Tube Radio CB Network. There's the other page, but it's kind of old. But anyway, if you check in there, I'll see one of them. Someone will bring it to my attention. We'll get you checked in. SWL 19. Chet, Derby, New York, by the way of Belfast, Maine, X in the square. And Chet is working the cue cards tonight. They look pretty good. What did they do? They bought a new pen or something. It's in big, bold letters. I might not even need the old guy glasses with the cue cards tonight. We will see. No, I'm going to keep them on. Don't go back to what you had. I like this better. Let's go. Thank you. We got you checked in. SWL 20. Hello, Harvey.
Hello, Dennis. Number 20 here. Check in 29 and 54. And I'll have an item of interest.
Items of interest are good. I gotta get the right mouse. They're telling me to check the video. Do I have a problem with the video? No, we're okay. Maybe it's just they don't like me slouching in the chair. No, don't add pictures. Like 52 says, do not add pictures to radio. It just messes things up. Okay, Harvey, you're sounding good. We will be awaiting the latest in the P&T department.
Alrighty. Okay. I will check back later. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, thanks for checking in. Let's go over to, I think JT is still up. He's in a different time zone out there in South Carolina, the Wasama Swamps, on old radio night tonight. And like me tonight, JT is after the net, just kind of like I'll be, just kind of sitting back. It's been a long day, so I apologize, JT. I got in late, so I didn't get to join in much of the festivities. But let me, by the miracle of video replay, if I can figure out where you are. I think it's right there. Yeah, let's go to that. This is what was happening in the old radio night tonight, the Tram Titan 2, and it was not the maximum overdrive frequency. I'm not sure I would want to know the maximum overdrive frequency. Here's some audio. And it definitely sounds like you guys...
I'm going to get in there and tell them that. Let's cut all the trees down.
They're cutting down trees so they can hear the radio station tonight. That is a beautiful radio, JT.
I took one of my videos off because somebody was discussing politics in there.
Oh yeah, I know. Okay, now I get that, and
I don't know if I can.
We do pretty good here. So hopefully, JT, you can get all the videos back. There's the tram. Well, we have some trams tonight. Listen in the old radio night for all of you everywhere, especially on the East Coast before this program coming in. Looking good tonight, 21, and I have you checked in. JT, loving the tram. Loving the Tram Titan. And yeah, you got to be careful when you get on YouTube. I think I played crickets one time, and that got flagged. I played some spooky Halloween sound effects one time, and that got flagged. So you got to be careful about what you do if you don't own it. The Jingle Singers are ours. So that's why you hear the Jingle Singers right here on the Old Tube Radio Network, because nobody else has those. They're in contract to us, and we feed them well, so they don't go away. Let's go over to thanks, JT, SWL 22. SWL 23. 23 Skidoo somewhere out there doing something. I'll put a proxy check in, but no doubt Mitch is figuring out a sneaky way to check in tonight. SWL 24, you heard at the beginning saying hello radio. Over to SWL 25. I will get Jerry checked in, I believe. He has a gig. He has a concert tonight. Let's see. Let me see who is around. Before we switch the page, I'm going to check. I want to check the Echo link before we turn the page. So let's take it over to. Let's see. Randy's on. Aaron's on. Okay, let's take it over to Dr. Dan. up in Sacramento tonight. If you are listening in on the Echolink, I know it's confusing because you've watched the video or listened to the radio on the Echolink. It's a little bit delayed. But if you're out there, Dan, on the Echolink, give us a transmission and tell us how it's all okay up in the state capitol tonight. KB6GFD.
Good evening, Dennis, and all the people out there listening. This is Dan, KA6RCZ in Sacramento. We have 77 degrees. I'm listening on 27085. I have a hex beam with 10 meters, so I can only receive there. It's not real good, but I am actually hearing some traffic, but I don't think it's anything coming from down your way. Anyway, you're looking good, you're sounding good, and I'm enjoying checking in.
All right, Joe, have you listening, Dan, up in Sacramento? We would have to have that real special short ducting E-skip. It does happen, though. Dan is one of the 7199 audio crew for those audiophiles out there. They're looking to do what I will call hi-fi audio on your standard radio or maybe extended ESSB. Dan's one of the crew down there up there on 7199 on your amateur radio dial, so be sure to tune that in if you are interested in all things audio, or just to have a good time if you're studying for your amateur radio license, a good frequency to listen into and think, okay, yeah, I would like to get into this. Thanks, Dan, for joining us tonight in the Old Tube Radio Network, KB6GFD. All right, Echolink is working good.
Dennis.
Sounding good.
Good evening, rest of the evening, I'll be listening. KE6RCZ is on.
Over to page 2, we're looking for Dwayne, hello 27. And speaking of Sacramento, here's our other purveyor of the state capital, SWL 28. Gary is also up in Sacramento tonight. He's checking in. He said he warmed up a little today, but not enough to stop me. I don't know. It's not going to take too much to stop me tonight. Everybody is being nice tonight. They said no funny stuff, no shenanigans. I stayed away from the pool. They put bigger print on the cue cards tonight so that I can kind of sit back, and hopefully by the time 10 o'clock rolls around, there will be a little bit of life left in the net control. But I don't have to do all the work. I'm expecting the tube radios to do that coming up later, so it should be good. Thanks for checking in, Gary. I've got a proxy check in for Mr. Loner 29. Put an X there. Who else? Oh, SWL 30. Looking to see if... Oh, Chrissy is in. All right. Looks like... Dwayne and Christy are in, so I'll get 30 and 10 checked in. I see you guys popping in, so no need to scurry around. Do what you need to do, and we will be here doing our thing. I see the jumping dolphins, so that means it is time to get you all checked in. Thanks. Page 2 is where we're at. If you're playing the home game, over to SWL 31. SWL 32. Shortwave listener 33, myself and all the gang here at the Old Tube Radio Network, including the honking proboscis of the often talked about but now seldom heard Bozo Control. And Robert, yeah, that's the honking proboscis. Captain Robert is joining us from Nevada tonight. And I did have a good time at the fundraiser. Made some chocolate chip cookies. Where are the cookies? They're probably down in the green room. So, do have some of the cookies that didn't get eaten at the function tonight. Let's go to Mr. Railroader, SWL 34. Also hanging out with Captain Chaos. They'll probably be around a little bit later, so I'll keep the space open for them. Next is a guy that was around these parts for a long, long time, and it was a good thing because along with Mr. Bill and Red Monkey Communications and all of the great crew out there, a lot of the radios you hear tonight are on and still on because of Mr. Bill and Red Monkey Communications. It's doing good. He is checking in from remote. He's out in Minnesota this evening. Hopefully it's a vacation thing or something fun. I hope you're doing something fun out there, Bill. And thanks for dialing us in. You never know. Maybe we'll get some skip out to Minnesota. 35 is in, and we got you. And what is... Yeah, I'm all ready. What is the drink tonight? This is something special. They put it in Gatorade. It's not Gatorade. Sorry. Oh, this is my electrolyte stuff, all right? They say if I drink this, I should have energy. It's not an energy drink, is it? No. All right. Good. I'm not big on energy drinks, so a little bit of, I don't know, potassium, some type of electrolyte stuff going on. I feel better already. Let's go to SWL 36. SWL 37. SWL 38. That's Sam in Byron. Might be listening in. Gatorade and vodka. Now, I don't think it's either. It's not, definitely not Gatorade, and there's vodka in there. It's definitely not the good kind there, cornbread. Let's go to SWL 39 and shortwave listener 40. All right, let me take a moment out to go to the video board and make sure I didn't miss anybody and say hello to those who might be out there. Hello, Kenny. I will get you up there coming up to 69. Rusty Rails is in saying he talked to someone going by Cornbread on the radio. Well, maybe it is indeed the Cornbread. Foxman 362 said you're going to watch in tomorrow. Just sometimes, I guess that's a good thing about having an archive now. If you miss all the great radios, you can come back at your leisure anytime and watch them and tune them in. Brown Dog Audio for an early check-in. We will get that with no problem. Mr. JT saying he's sitting back and he's going to be 10-8 and 10-10. I think that's what we used to call it. Steve UDX 483 Mud Bucket is listening in to us tonight. Joey L got the Heathkit SB220. It's in the shop, but it should be blasting in about 20 weeks. Probably going to do like a Hardbach mod with maybe a soft start switch and whatever else they do. I've got a 200 and a 220 that need all of that. They are original everything. So that's why they are not going to be fired up anytime soon, because I don't want to hear that snapping, popping sound of bad things going on. Let's see, Mike, we'll be coming up to you with no problem, looking good. Colo Radio, hello, good evening to all, and hope we are all staying safe and healthy. We're certainly trying to. Paul Williams is joining us, probably from a lot of people coming in from old radio night tonight. Randy, I see him. We'll be checking in with you as well as Aaron on the Echo Link side. 007 Extreme CB says looking good from his RV command center, now broadcasting in Virginia. So might have heard you when the sun was up, and I'm not too sure now. From Tulan Scott, it says have an echo like, yeah, but whose call do I connect on? You would look for KB6GFD. I don't think we are linked up to the old tube radio. Sometimes it's an old tube radio. Or if I had, you know what? I don't have the link. I could give you the node number. And I did not. I thought I wrote it down on a permanent piece of paper somewhere. But if somebody has the node number on that, post it, because that's another good way to find it. I will endeavor to get you a node number. Up in the balcony is always Popcorn 913. If you can't make it down to the green room, you can always stay right where you're at and get all sorts of great things from Popcorn 913. Thanks for joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network. And now back to roll call. Didn't hear from Larry. SWL 41 got an early check-in for 507, so no problem there. Over to SWL 42. SWL 43, I've got a proxy check-in for Crazy Eddie. SWL 44. Let's go up the hill to North Fork. I know it's noisy. Paul, can you hear net control from the Old Tube Radio Network? probably still noisy up there in 45 land. Let's try Steve Areno, SWL 46.
45, you hear me?
Hey, 45. Yeah, Paul, sorry about all the noise, but I hear you just fine. Over.
Yeah, I had a bit there. We're in, now you're in.
All right, good deal. You are checked in, and if conditions permit, we'll grab some radios in a little bit. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Over to SWL 46. Shortwave listener 47. And in my busyness today, I forgot to check my email. Some of you check in via email. Let me know that you're doing this or that, or won't be doing this or that. So, did you hear that? So I will be checking the email if I survive the evening here. Let's go to SWL 48. SWL 49. I don't know what's happening tonight. If it's Fresno State games, something, whatever, but a good place to be on a Saturday evening is right here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Over to SWL 50.
He is here and checking in.
Indeed, he is here and checking in, sounding good, Mark, beaconing throughout the Central Valley, with your great signal and high-altitude radio, and also all over the world, right here at the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for stopping by. That name has been placed on me many times, and I've earned it, but I'm not sure. I think 50, if he's a mud duck, it's only like a tiny little duck. He's got one or two feathers, but not bad at all. Let's go to Sangertown, SWL 51.
Shortwave listener 51, checking in.
305, sounding good. I'm glad the skip went away. You are doing a good job here in downtown, or I should say midtown, Fresno. Over. Directed net roll call is where we are at. You are listening, watching, or doing something with the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's check out the Echo link. And tonight, Aaron is sort of like Ed McMahon. He's off there in the side, and occasionally I'll hear a comment in my headphoniums. K6USY, KB6GFD.
Good evening, Dennis, and everyone else on the net. From behind the golden microphone, SWL 52.
It is working well. The audio is good. Golden microphonium or little gaming golden headset or whatever you use. They're doing a good job here through the Echo link on the Old Tube Radio Network. SWL 52 is checked in. KB6GFD.
K6US1.
Let's go to the legend, SWL 53. Hello, Bob.
Hello, good evening there, Dennis. Sounding good. I hope I'm getting out. 53 the legend on the east side of Fresno, checking in.
The east side of Fresno is working good to Midtown. Thanks for being patient with us tonight, and you are checked in. Over.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Page 4 is where we are headed. Let me go up to, or over to the oldtuberadio.net, our listeners listening to the audio online up in the balcony. Hello, Fresno, Florence, Kentucky, Dallas, Georgia. Yeah, it's quieter up there, but that's okay. We're coming to you. Centerville, Virginia, the unknown SWL, of course. If you see someone with a paper bag and a rubber ducky, that is the unknown SWL wandering around the facility here tonight. Woodland Park, Colorado, is always with beams pointed towards, what do they say, that mud duck station in Fresno. Shinston, West Virginia, Inez, Kentucky. The boys from Squamish are in, and they're saying, come on, Skip, because they can make it. They have put in some good signals into Midtown Butler, Pennsylvania, somewhere around there. Thanks for joining us tonight, the Old Tube Radio Network. We do this every Saturday, starting at 8 p.m. Pacific time, believe it or not, we have been doing this for about 37 years, waiting for the tube radios to arrive and giving them the forum to get on the air, like the old car shows. Little fins and chrome in the radio world. Hello to Anoka, Minnesota, Belfast, Cherokee, Cherokee, Iowa. Is that what's there that's been around? Hey, thanks for joining us. Fish Camp and Bowling Green, Kentucky, right up here in the special seat. I think they pay extra. They do something. I don't know. It's like some special thing, and there's usually just one spot right here. Right here in the front. So thanks for doing that tonight out there in Bowling Green. And back to the roll call here on Old Tube Radio Network. Looking for SWL 54. We will give a cosmic check in for Mr. Board Jammer. How about M&M? SWL 55.
Can I get in there?
You can get in there, over.
And under. And I just heard somebody key up and everything. SWL 37, Dennis.
37 is in, thanks. And if you're back in a while, we do that radio thing, so we got a spot for you.
Oh, yeah, well, that's always a good thing, you know what I mean?
It is indeed. All right, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you in just a little bit. Let's go over to SWL 55. SWL 56.
Just for kicks.
56. All right. I like the way we complete each other's sentences. That's what happens when you're like Grandpa and you've been checking in for 30 years. It just happens that way. Checking the tracker app. Oh yes, indeed. The running man, the walking man, is up and running. The Dash 1, looking good on the 56 tracker tonight. Thanks for joining us. All right, I got to make sure I put the X's in the right spot. Sometimes I put stuff in the wrong spot, and I think someone checked in when they didn't, and didn't when they did. SWL 57. Brown Dog Audio. I think I have a early check-in for BDA as well, so I will do that. SWL 58. Gosh, I don't think I made any of the nets this way. I didn't make Friday. I didn't make Wednesday. We had a busy week, so we'll give Jeremy a proxy check-in. SWL 59, Uncle Hairball, who is out over on Old Radio Night tonight, and no doubt has made the switch over to the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for joining us, Uncle Hairball. 59. There's I'd look up a little bit. There's the checks in the square. And let's see, before I go on, let me answer a few questions. Big Rich 6520, hello radio, thanks for tuning in. I guess such that you do tune in on whatever video device. Do you feel many earthquakes out there? All right, this is California, lots of fault lines, depending on where you are in California. Think of it like saying, do you get many tornadoes or hurricanes in Florida? If you're on the coast, yeah, you could. If you're inland, you get them, but you get them ex post facto. So, to answer that question, where I am at in Central California, we have a few fault lines, but they are not directly underneath. So the closest we had 30 or 40 years ago, Coalinga. Yeah, we rocked and rolled here, but it wasn't too bad. I grew up in Southern California. Lots of shaking there. The San Fernando earthquake in 72 that brought down some freeways. Occasionally there will be one directly under the house. I mean, really. 4 miles away. And it sounds, here's what it is. I don't want to talk about earthquakes, but somebody asked. You'll hear this low frequency rumble, and you'll think there was this giant semi-truck coming in the driveway. And then all of a sudden you hear kaboom, and the house shakes. So what you're hearing is the shock wave. You're hearing the shock wave as it hits wherever you are, kaboom, and then as it goes away. That's when you were directly on top of the earthquake. That's what it feels like and sounds like. But fortunately, if you're in a 0.3, You just get shaken. Unfortunately, if you're up 5 and 6, you have bad things going on. But that's the earthquake question. So where I'm at here, not too bad. But you're in the Bay Area, Los Angeles, lots of fault lines. You've got to be careful. And there is the San Andreas fault that is around elsewhere too. But we won't talk about that. Let's go to the guy that got us started off, SWL60.
Thank you much, Dennis. SWL60 checking in. And we're trailing a little bit on Fresno State game, Dennis. We're at halftime right now. Boise is up by 3. Hopefully we can catch up to them. 14-20.
Oh, man. All right. Well, that's where Chrissy and Dwayne are tonight. They're watching the Boise game. Of course, they're rooting for Idaho. We're rooting for Fresno. I've got a good friend, a California friend that moved up near Boise, so we'll see. I think he'll root for either one. He'll root for the team that wins. So, all right, thanks for the update. Thanks for the check-in and the check-in.
Thank you, Dennis.
I thought I heard the station earlier. I tried to get back, but it was skip land all over the place. SWL 61. All right, Dino, I hear you. I thought I heard you earlier, but there was skip going on. So if you can hear me, you are checked in 61 over. Sounds like the skip is trying to come in again. Let's go to King Duckford, SWL 62. The King Duckford is here. I see you there. X in the square. Button. I've actually chatted with Michael once on amateur radio. He caught me, and I don't even remember. You're probably in my log, but I don't remember where we were at. If it was 40 meters, or it might have been. But hope to do that again. Hope to hear you right here on 11 meters if we get some conditions. 62 is in SWL 63. 63 is out there in North Georgia, Butterbean. I will get you checked in. I have a feeling that he is out there from his appearance over at Old Radio 9. And out to 9 land, Adolf 64 is checking. SWL 64 is checking, and we've got you. Thanks for joining us tonight. Another station I hope to catch on the amateur radio bands, if you are indeed licensed for such things that I can hear you on. Let's go to SWL 65. I think that's skip. SWL 66. SWL 67. Get a proxy in for Bill. SWL 68. There's another station I might be able to hear on the frequencies beyond this one. Michael, NY157. I saw you in there earlier. So I will definitely get you checked in. Hello, Levon, joining us. I saw you there, and I forgot to say hello, radio, from sit and keep an eye on the OTS Browning. Looking good. Kenny, SWL 69, checking in earlier on the video side. If you're still watching, Kenny, hello, radio. And if you are still watching, but it's like a week later, hello, radio again. I never know when people might be tuning in, thanks to this video thing we got going. Over to SWL 70. SWL 71, I haven't refreshed my page, but no doubt, oh, that's from 6 days ago. Let me refresh the comments and see if Stan, I know Dallas, Georgia was up in the balcony here tonight, and I have not had any radio time, so I have no idea what and if the latest contest going on tonight. Well, there's Stan, all right. Nothing going on too much, and I don't know if I mentioned it last week, Stan, I made, which was a record for me. I went out and made 40 contacts in the Cal QSO party. Didn't hear you, you didn't hear me, but some of the stations, the bands were so good, conditions were so good, some of the stations I caught on 10, 15, 20, and 40. So pretty cool. Never done that before. So that's how good things were going with the Cal QSO party. Got you checked in from Dallas, Georgia. Let's go over to SWL 72.
Lucky Giant.
SWL 73. SWL 74. SWL 75. We got to talk to that guy sometime. You'd think he'd be here on the Old Tube Radio Network out here in Central California. Real Radio's glowing in the dark, beaconing at oldtuberadio.net, awaiting any and all check-ins, regardless of where you may be. Let's go to SWL 77. SWL 78, Wild Wildemar, and right at the end of the program, the end of the net last week, Richard beaconed into one of the Cal QSO parties we were listening to and made a contact. I think it's right at the end of the video if you watch that. Pretty cool. Of course, he was too close, couldn't hear him, but he was out there. Let's see, SWL 79, Mr. DC, jumping in on the digital side. I see you there, Phil. No problem. Got you checked in. Just looking through all the comments. Oh, there is Michael, SWL 13, Cobra. I've got you checked in. I see you on the big board. There's the X in the square. Let's go over to SWL 80. Maybe. All right, so for some reason, all the video stuff seems to be locked up and not working. But that's okay, because we want to do radios here. So if we can't do computers, there we go. We will do radios. Hello, 80?
Bye-bye.
All right, heading over to page 4, but before we do, let's jump in and see the latest happenings up there in Ohio with Bob and Steve. Maybe.
27.085 OTR Channel 11.
Yeah, we're all trying to be a little laid back tonight, but we still got to make the cues, right? Still got to be on time with the cues. All right. Episode 136, the Old Tube Radio Network for October 8th, 2022. Hello, Bob and Steve. Columbus Day is Monday. I forgot about that. That's indeed true. The post office and the banks are closed, whatever, and many have a long weekend. If you work at the post office and that, but some do. The hot popcorn in the balcony, hot butter is on it. Be careful. The boys from Squamish Popcorn 913 helping us with that. That way everybody doesn't have to carry stuff upstairs. They bring the machines in through the other side of the balcony. The cinnamon raisin bagels were a big hit. Oh, my favorite. I actually took a few home with me, and I didn't have to go far because home is right here. The aroma was outstanding. It is. And just an aside, if you're a guy like me that doesn't like onion stuff, and you go to a bagel shop and they keep the cinnamon raisin bagels next to the onion ones, guess what? Okay, maybe that cinnamon bagel goes in the onion, the cinnamon bagel smell, but the onion smell goes into the cinnamon raisin bagels. Not a good thing if you're not an onion guy. But they hit it right on. The cinnamon raisins were cinnamon raisins, and the aroma was outstanding. Fresno State is going to have a great game tonight. Not as good as we'd like at halftime, playing Boise State. Bob and Steve did take the team to the airport in the limos. They always appreciate that, and it looks good. And they take the long way. When they do it, they don't go direct. They kind of parade around a little bit and let the people see and cheer and support the team, and we like that. It takes a little extra gas, but you know Bob and Steve, they don't They don't worry about that kind of stuff. Boise is 3-2 right now. The Bulldogs 7-13 at halftime. And this is before halftime, so it's halftime. They're a little bit behind. At the bar tonight from Fort Smith, Arkansas, the Bricktown Brewery Shrimp and Tenders. Sounds pretty good. Buttermilk battered fried jumbo shrimp. Say that a couple times fast. And the fries and bread and butter pickle slaw. Uh-oh. And as they say, the bagels are looking better for this finicky eater. As they say always, don't forget to feed the fish.
27.085 OTR Channel 11.
Back with roll call in just a bit. Where do we start? Up at page 4, I think, and that's where we will go. We'll get a check-in for SWL 81. How about SWL 82? Let me get a check-in for Ron. He is probably doing some important thing, and I missed the Friday night net on 36 lower last night. Starts at 8 o'clock Pacific time, so I'm not sure what was going on.
Break OTR.
The break OTR. Go ahead. Over.
782. Late check-in.
A late check-in for Radio Boy on page 3 if you're playing the home game. 72, the X is in the square. Thanks for stopping by. Over.
Not a problem, Dad. You have a good one.
Let's try SWL 83. SWL 84. I will get 84, 86... 87 and 88 checked in. That is the Mountain Maid Tandy Girl and the Snowy Owl, respectively.
Don't forget the big unicorn man.
Yeah, 84. Jerry runs the 14-meter Jefferson noontime net on his great-sounding Swan radio, and I guess you've got to get the unicorn where you can get them.
Yes, sir, we do.
All right, it is a done deal. Over. SWL 89. SWL 90. From far-off lands, but not too far away from the Bronx, SWL 91. Felix checking in tonight on the old Tube Radio Network. I thought I saw Felix in earlier. I'll get him checked in. Maybe we're having a slow internet connection. And Dan, you were in Van Nuys. Well, you were way closer than I was. I was down in Manhattan Beach. I remember awakening at whatever it was, 4:30 in the morning and thinking, oh, this isn't good. And then I turned on my little, in fact, it's still here, my Hallicrafters radio, my FM 1000. Which is up, and there, I thought it was broken. There were no radio stations on it. It had knocked all the stations. So when KNX is off the air, it's a kind of a bad thing. So wow, we'll talk about that, Dan. You must have got shaken up pretty good. So I'm thinking you were probably like I was in high school or something when that went through. We're talking about earthquake stuff again. Let's go to SWL 92. SWL 93. That is Sal out there in southern New Jersey. Let's go to SWL 95 right there. Checking in from Orlando, Florida. Hope all is well out your way. Thanks for joining us tonight. Florida's a good hop here in the Central Valley for California, right? Whatever, 40, 20, 15, 10, here. We can hear Florida all the time. Let's go to SWL 96.
Back
Hey, it's good to be back as well. Thanks for the direct check-in. Always glad when you can hear this alleged mud duck station from Midtown. Dennis, you're sounding good. You know, they're not making many of us anymore, so we got to stick together.
That's right. That's right. And we're going to continue to do that. And keep checking in on Old Tube Radio.
Hey, that's the way we like it. Been doing it for 37 years. It is the Saturday night place to be. The Tube radios are coming up shortly, so stay tuned. Thanks, Dennis. All right, we do have, we got an Echolink Radio Randy coming up here. See what he is up to. Let's go to SWL 97. My J38 key is sticking on me again. That is Jim in Boston, Boston 97, right there, checking in. Thanks, Jim. We've got the X in the square. And Tracy up in the balcony. He's got this, I don't know what it is. It's like a little, it's not a flashlight. What is it, an LED thing? It's a laser. It's a laser thing. Can you see it sometimes? You'll see a little red light going through. Get my attention. Normally he's using it with the cats. He's out there in the patio chasing the cats around with that thing. Hello, Tracy. We've got you checked in, 98. Saying hello, Radio the Net. And looking forward to when you and I both get some antennas that are a little bit higher in altitude, and we can do this direct and we'll hear you on the headphoniums. Thanks, Tracy. Although, Tracy, you put in a good signal on the ditch banks. I can hear you there, so I know we're not too far away from getting an AM check-in here. Okay, where are we going? Let's do a little technical wizardry by way of the Echo, the OTR Echolink link, and some other items of interest. And we will see if we can't pick up Radio Randy and see what's happening out his way. KK7 TV, KB6GFD.
Okay. KB6GFT, KK7TV. Nice to hear you tonight, brother. Look forward to hearing you later on. Hopefully, if you have enough strength, you'll make it. Have we got audio?
You've got audio. Sounding good.
Hopefully, we have audio.
You've got audio.
All right, I'm an unkey. Simplex. Mr. DX over here. Wonderful net tonight. Enjoy, everybody. I try to listen to you on HF. I did not hear anything. I did not hear a peep. The band is dead down here in Phoenix. Anyway, I'll be listening, my friend. I'll be on the other frequency later on. KB6GFT, KK7TV, and hello to all the gentlemen out there. Bye-bye.
Okay, Randy is in Arizona, has the beams beaconing this way out. You would probably hear Australia and Hawaii is where the conditions are right now. We don't have the short skip. We'll check the map a little later. Didn't look very promising, though. You are sounding good. I think I heard Jeff in the background. Randy is one of the audio crew guys. He's also one of the net controllers, one of the net controllers on the AMI net. That's the big boat anchor. That is the version of the old Tube Radio network where your radios, instead of weighing 15 pounds, they weigh 115 pounds, and that's down on 3870 on Wednesday evenings, I think, starting at 7 or 8 o'clock. Randy was one of the net controllers there because he has a great location and a great station. Thanks, Randy. We will catch you on the other frequency. Thanks for joining us here on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. KB6GFD. And we're expecting to hear Randy come through the airwaves with his big setup project. I'm hoping that will happen soon. Let's go over to SWL 100, and I want to see if sometimes Tony joins us from South Carolina on Echolink, but I do not see him tonight. But I will get him checked in, and hopefully he made it through okay without any damage at his location from the previous storms. SWL 102 is ready and waiting in the queue here from Scranton, Arkansas, checking in. It says he hopes all the listeners and viewers are doing well tonight, and likewise, I do too. Thanks for joining us tonight, John, in Arkansas. Up to 103, John out there in St. Louis, Missouri. I don't see him on the queue, so we'll wait and see if he stops by. Let's head up the hill to shortwave listener 109, Crawdad. I'm thinking that Fresno State game is getting pretty good. Let's head to the Millerton Lake, SWL 110. And I'll refresh my comments, see if we hear from Reedleytown tonight. Hello, SWL 111. SWL 113. SWL 114.
114, checking in.
Hello, Wayne. I'm putting the X in the square. Rick Shaw is got the representation, and the click puts you in the log. Thanks.
Thank you.
Who is joining us? I saw the door open up there. Auburn, Washington, Germantown, Wisconsin. Joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Hello again, I should say. Let's head over or up to, and I'll check my item. 128. John is in tonight. The Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for joining us from around Fairfax, Virginia, somewhere. I wonder what the. Let me see, are you showing up on my... Oh, okay, it's up there. Let's see, what's going on in your neck of the woods tonight? Where it is... Oh, midnight. Ding dong. All right, it's Sunday. Up there near Centerville, Fairfax, where it's, 40 degrees. That's a little bit chilly for us here in Central California, where it's 95 today. So, as that guy on the... Walt Disney movies used to say, the snows of winter are coming on, although you probably don't get snow down there. Let's go over to SWL 131. Or maybe you do, I don't know. Geography was never my big point here. SWL 133. SWL 135.
Oop, something's gone wrong. SWL 135, checking in.
All right, I hear you just fine. There is a wee bit of oscillation. We'll talk about that coming up. SWL 145, Tony checking in from far off lands via the Echo link. SWL 147, that is Neil and the gang out there. He was in earlier saying hello radio, and I didn't. There's really no way to peg the chat window when he comes in. So I know he was there. I'll probably miss it, but I was always like to hear what's going on and what he has to say. Here it is. He's on the scene. They're getting international skip from Italy. I've seen the posts. The guys way over yonder to the east talking about Tasmania and Spain, and we can hear them here on the West Coast. But they're loud, just like the Hawaii, Australia is here to us on the West Coast. International skip from Italy, the UK, Scotland in the late mornings, getting Colorado, Montana. You know, those Colorado, Montana. But we get those. He gets those as well. He'll talk to you. And North Dakota, rare for this region. But remember, it's cycle 25, and it's so far it's a lot better than anyone thought it would be. And we aren't even at the top yet. Okay, Neil, I've got you checked in. Hope all is well. Hope you're playing some music when you want to. Let's go to, speaking of Skip Land, SWL 188. Hello, Bobby.
Good evening time, Dennis. Good evening time to all SWLs. Sorry I missed you guys the last couple of weeks. Checking in.
Sounding good tonight. You probably hear it, but the Hawaii, Australia sort of faded away. But we can hear you just very strong, of course. So we've got you checked in.
10-4. Good evening time.
And let's head up the hill to Jim and all the crew over there in the radio room. I don't know if he checks in. He's probably, if we went back and counted who has checked in the most, I'm sure he would be in the top 5, if not the top 3. So I always think of those pictures when they show, the fireside chat radios, and they have the family sitting around the big wooden Zenith. Jim and his family are sitting around the radio on Saturday nights. I don't know, but I'm glad you're here. Hello, 195. All right, well, I know there's a game going on. I don't know if it's on TV, but hopefully it's going well for the Bulldogs, and it might be a little more exciting than what's going on here. But it's going to get exciting because radios are on their way. Thank you, Jim. And let's go to SWL 226, Mr. Shockwave. All right, well, I almost made it into the 9 o'clock. That's what they're being relaxed. Maybe it flows better. I don't know. Unless I've forgotten. Maybe I forgot to skip the page. That's why we're doing so well. I want to say hello to Pittsburgh Estate Sales, saying good evening to OTR. A little late. You're never too late. As long as you see the 6L6 glowing over there on oldtuberadio.net, that means we are beaconing on the air somewhere. Oh, the Pennsylvania QSO party. Just finishing. All right. Well, listen for what happened. I should be able to hear that. We had ours last week, as you know, the CQP, California QSO party, and I actually made a few contacts. It was kind of fun. All right. Anybody else before we head over to the radios? OTR listening for check-ins. The break channel. Go ahead. Over. All right, 650, sounding it and staying up late. Hope there's something good going on.
No, just got done with dinner and went back in.
All right, well, that's good enough. And jump by the radio saying, that's what I like about Saturday nights. A lot of people do whatever they do on a Saturday, and they will stop by. They will take a little pause, come into the radio room, say hello to us here at Net Control, the shortwave listener, the tube radio operators, and when you say hello, you are beaconing across the entire universe at oldtuberadio.net. Thanks for checking in. All right, I'm going to take a pause. We are going to set all the controls up for the tube radios coming up shortly. If you've got a tube radio, you know the drill. Keep it warming up. I've got the list. Do I have the list? Yes, it is right here. We are wanting to populate some radios on the list back in a couple of minutes on your old tube radio network. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
All right, making some good 100% YAM modulation on the REA meter tonight. AM radio is where we are at. Your tube radio is glowing in the dark. The Old Tube Radio Network doing what we have been set forth here to do. And that is talk about, check in with our tube radio operators, and find out what's going on in the world of old tube radios, Class D 11-meter style radios, and also, for those who may not have been around, recreate the sound back in 1962. The demeanor of the operators back in 1971. Anyway, it's all right here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Our sponsor, if you will, tonight, to populate the pocket protector is our Penda's complement of D&J Radio Sales at 228 North Merriam in Thief River Falls, Minnesota, in the 218 area code. Let's see if I can get our less than stellar camera. That's the way less than stellar, right? Yeah, the less than stellar camera, and show you the, where is it? The D and, yeah, compliments of D and J. See, not focusing. All right. Radio Sales. Looking good here on the Old Tube Radio. The camera, did someone move the camera? It's not even pointed the right way. Look at all that mess. That's the audio garbage that is, what radio are we saying? That one. Can we turn that one on? Is that possible? This just so people can see that it works? Maybe I shouldn't do that. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Let's do that. All right. In case I mess up and put on that camera, I'll have something to look at. Tube radios are the thing. That's why we are here. I will stop talking, and for the next hour, it will be the glow-in-the-dark radios taking the net. OTR listening.
Number 7. 135. 14.
All right, I've got 7, 135, and 14. I was actually trying to write with this pen from D&J Sales. I think it should go in the pocket protectors. It does not have to have any, it doesn't seem to have any good ink in there. All right, so let's see. Sean, you'll be radio 3. Cliff, you'll be radio 2. Stepping up into the air chair is Mr. Ed. Here at approximately 10 minutes after 9 o'clock on the West Coast or so. I've got the radio Rolodex ready. We'll see if we can get some pictures of the radios that you will be hearing tonight. Hello, Mr. Ed.
And hello, TR, and all the SWLs. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB with the banana-type microphone.
All right, I'll bring up the Browning Laboratories shot that I have. It won't be showing the banana-style microphone. I'll bring a different one. I'll save that one. Let's do this one because it doesn't show the. Not sure what microphone it shows. Let's see what we've got here. If I can figure out how to get in there. All right, because it's an advertisement. Got the VFO. All right, we're looking into the receiver. Got the speaker with the Gulf for the Flying Eagle. The transmitter. Notice that on the Mark III, that was the first set that the transmitter was the same size as the receiver, and I think it's because they built in sideband. You have sideband on that, right? Over?
That is correct. This is the SSB model, and yes, they're both the same size and take up almost 3 feet across the table.
And that is correct, because they did have, they did make an AM transmitter, which is smaller, probably very similar to what the Mark II had. And I think, price-wise, it was about $200 cheaper. And there are a few out there. 1972 when this came out, wasn't 40 channels, so in theory, the sideband channel, if indeed there was one, would be channel 16. And a lot of people were starting to do the VFO thing to go in between channels and above 23. But the Browning is a bit tricky to use on sideband, but they can sound good, as proven by yourself, Mr. Ed, and Sean, who will be checking in with us in just a little bit, also putting his Browning Mark IV to the test. Okay, back to you. Maybe for those who are not familiar with this radio, when you are trying to pair the two together, the transmitter and the receiver, there is a spotting. That means you're trying to put the receiver in line with the crystal-controlled transmitter. What is the protocol? How do you do that? Is it a lot of buttons to press, or is it fairly simple?
No, it's really simple. Of course, put whatever channel you want to transmit on. And actually, let's see, they have the receiver on, actually. Transmitter, and that one has the button on it. You press that, and wherever you get the strongest signal on your receiver, that's pretty much where you are. On mine, I'm actually on the 1, on the 11. It's not quite dead center to have optimum performance.
All right, I've got a nice close-up picture of, I believe it's Cliff's radio. I see a switch below what I'm going to call is the slider, the VFO, that takes you about 700 cycles either way. That's where the spot is on yours?
That is correct. I do not have the SWR little knob on the side, but yeah, everything else is the same.
All right, sounds good. All right, there you go. So it puts a little transmitting, it goes to the crystal, puts a little transmission out to the receiver. The receiver, which is agile, it is not crystal controlled, it is variable. You can peak your S meter, and you are now on, at least you're on your frequency. You may not be exactly on the frequency of the station you're telling it with, that gets you close by. Back to you for transmission, sounding good on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, over.
Yeah, it should be actually pretty much on frequency, because I can check it with the other radio. But yes, sideband-wise, when we had the sideband net that we did on OTR back on Fridays years ago, this one actually operated on sideband on that. So yeah, it does work. It's a little tricky for listening, but it does work.
All right, well, it's good that it works. It's definitely working here on AM. One of the listeners, one of the viewers, James J, says, is this AM or SSB? This venue that we are at right now, if you were to listen over the air, you would be tuning to channel 11 27085 on your amplitude modulated, or as they say up there in Skowhegan, on your YAM dial, and you'd be able to hear us. Of course, since we're AM, we've got a lower sideband, we've got an upper sideband, so you could tune us in on sideband if you want. But you might hear a little bit of carrier unless you zero beat. But we are AM, the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for joining us, and thank you, Mr. Ed, for getting us started out.
And thank you.
And speaking of AM, let's go to our next radio in the queue. It sounded like it was warmed up pretty good. We want to see if we've got the full audio flavor. Hello, Cliff. Over.
Okay. Is this thing going to behave or not? It looks like it's behaving, at least right now. Yeah, this is SWL 135, checking in on an AM-only big table full of rigs. This, like the last radio, also takes up a lot of space on the table. From Bristol, Indiana, this is the Demco satellite, also known as the Demco satellite CB1. There should be a picture of this very radio up there somewhere. Let's see, what can we say about it while it's continuing to operate? It doesn't look like it's howling. There are all 23 transmit crystal channels, and of course all 23 VFO receive on the receiver, separate transmitter and receiver. There are a total of 15 tubes coming at you right now. Let's see, that's 5 of them in the transmitter, 8 of them in the receiver, and 2 additional tubes in the Demco modulator, which is engaged at this time. Did you find it? Back to you.
I believe I found it. It says, indeed, Demco satellite, in the Demco satellite's spelling, sick, as they say, from the collection of Cliff, SWL-135. So we see transmitter, receiver, speaker, meter, the cool Demco modulator. We'll talk about that. All nicely selected with lights glowing, and we'll talk about this too. It looks like a Magic Eye tube.
My turn?
It is your turn. Over.
Yeah, okay. I've got my usual noise over here. Yes, okay, guys. Again, 5 tubes in the transmitter. One of those 5 tubes is the EM87 horizontally mounted Magic Eye tube. Very much like the, the 6RE13 that I guess we're getting more and more familiar with. This is actually a much more common tube, the EM87. It's pretty much the same tube, but it is wired differently. Again, in this case, it's mounted horizontally for extra spooky modulation effect. And yes, as everybody knows who has things like this, it's oodles of fun to watch it flash and bring itself together as you speak. Back to you.
Very good. I'm looking. Those are big knobs on that radio. There's a lot of big knobs to grab. I don't know. I guess if you put the modulator in between, you can get, like Ed was talking about, and you need 3 feet of space to get the satellite in. So interesting. Our first 2 radios are transmitter-receiver combinations. Yes, they still did that. A little bit harder, a little bit more challenging to run to get everything up and running. I don't know if JT is still listening. He may have gone into the sleep land, but no doubt he's ringing in his dreams. He's ringing the Demco, and we haven't had a lot of Demcos coming in. He's ringing the Demco satellite bell, like the little meter. And do you also, we were talking to Ed about spotting the transmitter to the receiver or the receiver to the transmitter. So is there a similar thing where you've got to press a button and look for some tone, or listen for some tone, or look for some meter deflection to make sure your transmitter and receiver are talking to each other?
Yes, as a matter of fact. It's like with the Brownings, it's essential. Now, the receiver does have, A, B, C, D, E. It does have some memory channels that you can set up for it. But generally, and the way I'm running it right now, it's, crystal controlled transmitter and VFO on the receive. So, yeah, you got to zero in on your own signal. Now, with this, instead of a spot button, I don't know how well you can see it in the picture, but in the lower left-hand corner of the transmitter, there's a great big knob. In the center is XMIT, which is where I'm at now, which allows me to XMIT. Very good, yeah. And it says tune. So you click it, that knob to the right, and watch the meter on the receiver, which, in my case is off to the left. And you turn that big knob next to the meter on the receiver until it peaks. And hopefully you are as close as you're going to be. Incidentally, this thing, according to my freaky meter, is very close to right on the money. So hopefully, and you sound good, so I think we're receiving and transmitting as close to on frequency as this thing is going to do.
Yeah, it sounds good. Breaker acknowledged. Will be right with you. Maybe on your next transmission, before you go, I will do a quick. I think I'm set up to do a quick 0 beat and see exactly that. The Demco satellite. I think we're calling this the CB, or they call it the CB1. if you give it a model number. Sounds good. The audio is nice. I know you could be running it a bit beefier if you wanted to, but you may have backed it down a little bit to get rid of the oscillation. Oh, and I wanted to mention, just since here, let me go back to the thing. The picture, the device in the center, it's got the two big knobs, and I believe it has, like you said, it has two tubes in it. That is a Demco modulator. It is a standalone mic preamplifier, I guess they call it mic amplification system, but it runs tubes. This was available as a separate unit. I talked to some friends back in 1971, 72 that bought just the modulator to put with their D104 microphones to put on their solid-state radios to give it that tube sound. So a very neat little device that Demco had that worked great with their radios, but you could use it with any radio that you wanted, and probably any radio today. Okay, take a transmission. We'll do the zero beat here. And thanks for, it looks like you are in, I was looking at your picture there. You might actually be in the tune position to get all the lights to illuminate. Back to you.
Okay. I'd also like to turn that aforementioned two-tube modulator on and off. I do have it on, and yes, I can. I'm at 12 o'clock position on both the microphone and the Demco modulator. I have them both at 12 o'clock. And I forgot to mention, the microphone here. These did not come with a microphone. Although I looked high and low for a long time, there is no Demco desk mic that goes with these things. According to the manual, they gave you a mic plug that you could wire your own microphone up with. So the one I'm using here is the Turner Super Sidekick, which is at 12 o'clock. And I don't know if you've got me zero beated and all that stuff yet, but I'm going to turn the modulator out. The left knob is for gain, and the right knob is for taking it in and out of the mic circuit. I see the mic goes into that, and then that goes into the transmitter circuit. Cycle. So, okay, that is with the modulator out of the circuit. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 sizzling, savage sausages, and all that sort of stuff. And now we turn it back on. It's back in the circuit. I did notice some difference on my EM87 Magic iTube, but what did you hear over there?
Oh, a lot of difference. In fact, for a little bit it went away. So my guess is that switch it needs a little bit of exercising, or maybe it needs no exercising. But when you came back, the audio was thin. That's without it. It was thin. Low frequencies went away, and way down in the modulation. So the Demco modulator engaged is a good thing. Over.
Oh, okay. So right there, I should probably just leave it that way. Yes. Let's see if it messes up again. According to my transmitter, I'm still transmitting. Hello. But thinner audio, huh? Okay. Now back in. We have it back in line according to everything I see here. Makes that big a difference, huh?
I would say when you have the modulator out, most people probably would not be able to hear you.
That much, huh? Wow. All the lights and meters kept working. There you have it. It's a good thing I've got that thing.
I agree. Good thing it's a good thing you have all of this, because here at the Old Tube Radio Network, if you didn't have it, I don't know, we wouldn't be able to, one, let people hear how it sounded, two, put the picture up and say, this is a cool radio. There aren't a lot of these still around in good shape like yours that have all the parts, the modulator, the speaker, and everything else. So a good demonstration. We haven't heard the Demcos for a while. There is the infamous Demco bell that does ring whenever there's a Demco firing up anywhere between the East Coast and the West Coast, whether it be the Old Tube Radio Network or Old Radio Night, and we have one tonight for your pleasure. The call from, I think it's the CB1 Demco satellite. They had a few other versions, as in Super Satellite, but you gotta love this one with the Magic iTube. Oh, and your frequency was 50 cycles maybe. If I go directly to upper lower sideband, I hear you just fine, but I can tweak it a little bit by going up in frequency a skosh. You are sounding good. Thanks for radio number 2 tonight.
No, thanks for letting me check it in. And yeah, according to my freaky meter, it's just the teensy-weensy bit high. Let's see, 0851 or 0852. So again, this might be the closest to on-frequency radio I've got. I haven't checked it in since last year. Sorry about that, but I have checked in the Travelier from time to time. So I will try to get these Demcos checked in when I can. Thanks for letting me check it in this time for the spooky Halloween Magic Eye extravaganza. We'll do more of this in the next couple of weeks.
All right, one of our old tube radio traditions, and we have many here that have happened in our 37 years, and that is Cliff, the Green Arrow, during the month of October, goes into his radio cache. Is that the right word? Anyway, he goes there and he finds the spookiest radios to check in during the month of October, culminating with our Halloween, near Halloween special. But typically, if you are a fan of the Magic Eye tubes, October is the month to join us, because you will hear at least one from his radio room. Stepping up in the air chair, SWL-14, Sean. Don't take a transmission just yet, Sean. I think we've got an SWL wanting to check in. I want to get them so they can thank you for patiently waiting. I thought it was 131, but I'm not sure. I am listening.
Oh yeah, you know it's me.
All right, I'm finding page 4. I'm putting the X in the square, and you are good to go for another Saturday.
All right, thanks, Dennis.
All right, thanks for joining us. Also joining us, before we jump into the radio, by hook or by crook, or possibly even a crooked hook, SWL 23. 23 Skidoo. Let me see, we got you proxed in, but we're giving you an official check-in. And yes, this is the beginning of our spooky radio tradition. And so, yeah, you never know. You never know. We might get ETC in this month to do a live something or other as we get close to our Halloween program, as it were. Where are we going? Oh, over to. I just have to look right over there in the air chair. Hello, Sean. Over.
Hello, Dennis. SWL-14 checking in on my new-to-me Cobra Cam 88, fresh from Harvard.
Oh my gosh! All right, we have heard that. I think we previewed that radio, but it's never been in its. What do they say about cats? And it's for forever home. Boy, nice audio. I was going to say, I'm not hearing you pinging, and now I know why. I thought maybe you had it adjusted to not do that. Cobra. Let me see. I think I have to go under B&K Cobra for that. And you did say it was the 88 over.
Correct. It's the Cobra Cam 88, and it's got a home right here on top of my Cobra 139. And I really like this radio. It's got a good look to it. It's a lot smaller than I imagined. You know, the picture didn't do it justice, and so I had it sit there next to the others. It's nice and compact. Over to you.
Well, it's sort of the standard OTR size. Somebody said it looks like a big school bus kind of thing with the big knobs and the wheels go around and around. It sure has some good full flavor audio, and it's loud. Again, Sean is far away as CB radio goes, and my antenna is low, so we're beaconing through buildings and trees and freeway overpasses. So the fact that we're even hearing each other is amazing in itself. But the fact that I'm hearing that kind of audio on, we'll see what your signal is, S7 to S5, is a good thing as well. Cobra Cam 88, new to the shack out there, but it's sounding good. Back to you.
Yeah, you're sounding really good tonight, too. I was
Yeah, I just brought up the S meter. My noise level and the RF gain is set to S5, and that's right where you are at. So basically, you know, the old thing, you're not moving the meter, but because you've got good audio, that's what we are hearing out there. So Richard, Richard, 78. I will get you checked in. I just looked at my items there. I'll get out there in Wild Wildemar. And Richard is the guy that we heard at the very end of the program last week. Although we didn't hear him, we heard someone talking to him from far off lands as he was checking to the Cal QSO party. And Richard says the grill looks like a Mack truck. It does. Looks like a Mack truck coming at you. So just, Sean, just step out of the way when you key the microphone. Over. Exactly. Thank you, Dwayne. The desk was vibrating over there. I had to look over to see what was going on, so I was able to catch everybody. We have Radio 3 online, the Cobra Cam 88, in its first appearance from the radio room of SWL 14, and doing a good job here on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. If you ever get into the high fidelity audio, your Browning already does that to a point, to the way Browning wants it. However, if you get crazy, the Cam 88 has a lot of can do a lot of extra flavor. If you ever get into the audio frequency stuff, that would be the radio to work with, because it will. If you want to run some low frequencies through that, it usually passes them, and some high frequencies as well. Over to you for a transmission, and thanks for bringing by radio number 3. All right, likewise, always appreciate our tube radio operators taking time out of their evening or whatever they're doing and making sure that they put some radios on the air. Over to the Jingle Singers we go, and then I'll be listening for more radios here on your Old Tube Radio Network. And there it is.
You're listening in the latest style.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
Wonderful Fresno, California, the Old Tube Radio Network standing by.
Number 7.
All right, Paul, I hear you, and Ed, I hear you as well. I was kind of dragging my feet for Paul, so Ed, you will be Radio 5, but before we do that, here at 9:36 or so Pacific Daylight Time, we will head up to Paul 45. Paul, can you hear me? Over.
Yeah, you bet. It's not as clear as ever, but it's clear. I got you real good. I want to check in my Buddy Bass, which I've done quite a few times, RC11B receiver with a Buddy TX11B transmitter.
All right, Buddy Bass. This is very interesting tonight. Most of the radios, not all of them, have been the really cool transmitter receiver combinations. And I want to find the right Rolodex picture here that shows the radio on which Paul is taking a transmission tonight. And I think I have it. If for some reason the computer's really slow, it's getting that. I think I'm going to crash on you. So if it'll hang out here for another half an hour, we will be good. I believe I have found the photo of the Buddy Bass transmitter, receiver, and on-the-air speaker light. Back to you, Paul. Over.
Okay. Well, the way any of these radios made, as I've said before, Carvey calls this radio a baby buddy. It was never converted to 10 meter, and it's running fast and long for the thing, so it's not very loud. Maybe that's my phone. Need to maybe turn it up a little bit back here.
Yeah, well, it's not very loud. Actually, it is loud. Your signal isn't as strong as it could be. That's only because we're far away. We're miles and miles and miles apart. But the Buddy Bass, again, like we've been hearing, with some great audio, you don't need a big signal to be heard. I want to say hello to new stations listening in San Marcos, California, up in Ohio, New Gratesville, enjoying the program, the Old Tube Radio Network, something we do every Saturday. Here in Central California, you are listening to the audio of a Buddy Bass station. You will be as soon as I stop talking. Hello to Germantown, Wisconsin. Thanks for joining us. Paul, give us another transmission. Make that on the air light illuminate. Over.
Okay. Well, those tubes in the radio's 18. A lot of tubes in the thing. And I'll tell you what, it's really a class radio. I'm using a Turner Plus 3 amplified ceramic microphone. The radio was manufactured in Pasadena, California by Marine Communications. So it's a local radio. There's only a few made. I think there's about 700-800 of them made. It's very little. They shut them down. Back to you.
Doing a good job, Marina Communications. I think that's a serial 333. You said there was about 800, so in the middle of the production run. Good audio. That's actually a good, if someone would say, what microphone would you use? I wouldn't off the top of my head suggest I think you said the Plus 3, but it's got good articulation. It's nice and bright, but it still brings, and the Buddy is another radio like the B&K, the Cobra, where if you want to do some audio processing, it will give you some good low frequencies and high frequencies as well. Transmitter receiver, you do have to get the receiver online with the transmitter. And unlike Browning, they took the speaker, made it separate, and made the big on-the-air light. So very classic. Really neat to hear that. I was trying to see if I could get a manufacture date on that. I do not have it. So back to you, Paul. Take another transmission. Enjoying the Buddy Bass, and of course, our listeners want to hear what calls, and you can hear it when you key up. It's the ping, but only Eagles ping and Buddy's bing. So give us a transmission so we can hear the Buddy bing.
Okay. Well, it has a string control receiver on the thing, which is really neat. That's definitely an indication of an older radio system back in the, what do you say, the 50s. So the light on the transmitter was also, that's one of the rare things about this radio. One of them had one modern facility like this one. So anyway, that's all I'll say. I won't close it up anymore. Thanks, 37.
All right, thank you, Paul. For some reason, the computers here are doing strange things. So if at any time you see the Old Tube Radio Network go away on the video, it's because strange things are happening. We'll still be transmitting on the radios at 27.085, but I'm getting that portent of bad things to come. 37, don't go away. Jump into the green room. You'll be Radio 6, but before that, we have patiently waiting. Thanks, Paul. Love the Buddy Bass. Love that bing. We have radio number 5 with Mr. Ed at the controls. Take a transmission number 7.
Oh, this one's from 1963. 23-channel transmit and receive on the Tram TR-27 Echo.
All right, well, I get the TR-27 Echo up into the Rolodex here, since things are taking a little while. Let's go. There was an informational transmission ready to go. The informational transmission, go ahead, and then we'll come back to the Tram radio. Go ahead, Harvey.
Okay. The information is on the Baby Buddy. Now, regular Buddies were made around 62 to 1964. based on schematic information that I'm looking at right now. However, most transmitters had the 2E26 final and I think 6V6 modulator. His is very, very unique. The transmitter has a 6CL6 final and a 6AQ5 modulator. Now, some people are going to say, oh, no way. Well, way. I actually, if I can find it in my phone, have a picture of the inside of that transmitter. And it's factory punched chassis with the smaller tubes in it. So that transmitter he calls the Baby Buddy because of the smaller tubes is definitely unique.
Yeah, not only is it 333 out of 800, it's got, I don't know, is a modification or a factory modification, and you know that even on the general radio telephones, they would have the kitchen table engineering. What if we change this component? Or what if we do this in the middle of a production line or something and see what happens? So sometimes, like you said, you get that unique little test to rule. All right, very good. Thanks, Harvey, for that. We'll discuss a little bit more, but all the radios that we check in are unique, but some of them have little extras, and it's always nice when we can find out more. So, and Harvey is a wealth of knowledge, because a lot of times he's taken the cases off these radios and saying, "Wait a minute, this isn't supposed to be like that," and then that's a good thing. All right, Harvey, thank you for that information. Over.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Well, don't go too far. Don't go too far, because we do want to check in some radios. Radio 5, Radio 6 is where Chris is over there. All right, Radio 5, thank you, Ed, for standing by. But I do have, and let me pop it up on the screen here, the tram, because we have a comment, and I bet you know who it's from. And basically, in 4 words, they say it all. Finally, a green radio. Over to you.
Yes, it is definitely green, and when you transmit, it goes into the green, and when a big signal comes in like yours, it goes under the green on a very large little meter there, and of course the 5x7 speaker and Electro Voice 638 microphone attached.
Sounding good. For those of you who tuned in with DD21, Dirty Diaper on his tram tonight was the version after this radio that you're seeing, 1964 and 65, the Tram Titan and the Tram Titan 2. They used the same meter, but this was the first tram to have the nice big S meter. This is the TR27 Echo from back in 1963. I was going to see if I can get the, before you sign out here, and I'll turn it back to you so we can hear the radio again, but there is an advertisement that I want to pop up with this radio. So back to you.
Oh, there you go. Yep, I had to replace some tubes in it. Other than that, it's been really good radio. Tried multiple microphones out on it right here on OTR, and everyone said this one sounded the best, so I left it here.
It sounds good. It doesn't have to be super duper loud or overdone, or hearing you echoing off the walls. Another step forward in CB communications, the TR27E base station, 70% or better transmitter efficiency, provides 3.5 watts guaranteed minimum RF output. Remember, the transmitters back then were by FCC 5-watt DC input, meaning if you can get 3.5 to 4 watts on the output, you're doing pretty good. This one guarantees you 3.5 with 100% high-level modulation, and it gives you some sensitivity controls. Other items of interest on your Tram TR27E, in addition to many features that are standard, you will find the S meter is now an arsenal Archival moving coil type with an illuminated panoramic scale, accurately calibrated to 60 dB over S9. Pretty cool. Is the bulb still working in your illuminated meter over?
That it is. It does illuminate, but on the meter, actually only the top half is illuminated.
All right. Here's another question. The cabinet now has an extra durable wrinkle finish, and it could be repainted, but I think yours is green. Is it wrinkly? Is that finish wrinkly out there?
Well, the green is not wrinkly, but the case itself does have the wrinkle paint.
All right, the 23-channel selector switch carries the channel number illuminated in the panel. Let me go back to the radio. If it's really tiny, but I guess you would need to have it illuminated or you would see nothing.
Yeah, it's not the greatest light, but you can see it. So, yes, it is illuminated.
Okay, what else? Oh, the receiver overload characteristics is improved by 20 dB. The adjacent channel rejection is improved by approximately 5 dB. And then, okay, well, we're close together. Let's try some adjacent channel. We'll do it right here. So those listening in won't hear anything, but just stay right there, Ed. Here is... Oh, I can't do it. Wait a minute. All right, here we go. Here is the adjacent channel. There is the adjacent channel. Radio testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then I just came back. I suppose you heard a little bit of me, right?
I heard 2 little tiny scratches. I could not tell it was even a voice.
All right. I went down to channel 10. So improved by approximately 5 dB. And in many other respects, the overall excellence of tram equipment has been given extraordinary consideration and effort. All right. There is some sales speak for you. All right. Tram Electronics, Winnisquam, New Hampshire, in the 03289 area code. It sounds good. It always sounds good. It is green, so, Chrissy is saying, how come we're looking at all this stuff? Let's see the radio. I will do that. We'll put a picture of the radio up, and then if I can see, my video stuff is not working here tonight. I want to get the green radio up so that you can take a transmission. Chrissy will come back next week to the Old Tube Radio Network and say, I hope they have a green radio. Back to you, Mr. Ed.
Thank you much. And yes, this radio puts out just a little bit more than that 3.5 watts. It puts out about 25 on peaks on the PEP meter.
Wow, very nice. Oh, and Jim, thanks. 97 Boston's had the ad in the first version. Note the spot label location. Okay, well, in this one, your spot is directly under. You're directly under, and in fact, it looks like the meter. Okay, and that one, can I get closer? All right, I'm just trying to see what he was mentioning. Is it crystal socket? See, it looks like they have different knobs, too. It looks a little different, but there's a spot button underneath that. So I think in the crystals there, and I'm going to switch back to the other one, and of course, it's not going to be, okay, there it is. So I think it's good. I think you're good to go. You've definitely got a 27E over.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a 27E. It has the right on the case there. So yep, and 23-channel transmit and receive. It has all the crystals.
All right, yeah. Oh, he's saying the labels. I'm sorry, Jim. I'm not. I got too many buttons to check. I'm not paying attention here. Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, because it's above. It's above, right under the meter, is where it says spot. So if we go back to the... I like these little lights. People are so good at paying attention. Yeah, you are exactly correct. Look at that. They're off to the side. So it's a different version than what's in the ad. In the ad, your spot is above the switch and your Xtol is above the socket. But they moved them to the side, which is probably better. They're kind of crowded under that meter. Maybe, when people are putting the meter on or something, scraping off the lettering. All right, good. Nice catch there, 97. Over to you, Ed, for a final transmission, and then I believe Chris is standing by for Radio 6, but enjoy the tram.
Thank you much. Well, with that, we'll be listening for some more tube radios.
Tube radios are a good thing, especially when you are tuned to the old Tube Radio Network. I want to get the radios in. I want to try and get out of here before my noise comes in. So we're going to hold off with the jingle singers. And hopefully, I didn't talk so much that we can't get in Radio 6. And that would be the ever-popular, as we used to say years ago, Go Boy. Go ahead.
God, I'm pretty good. Anyway, Dennis, I would like to check in my general radio telephone. The Super MC11, a 24-channel tuber that glows in the dark, original handheld stock mic, and check this out, wrinkle paint case.
That wrinkle paint was a big deal. I don't know if Collins did wrinkle finish. Maybe that was a sign that you had this very fancy, expensive wrinkle radio like a Collins. Another back to the West Coast here for the General Radio Telephone in Burbank. Down the street from the Buddy Base, their last fully, in this model, the MC11A, their last fully FCC type accepted. They made an MC12, but didn't make many of them. So you got a good item. Give us a transmission.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Well, it seems to be working. Hello. Anyway, yeah, it's working. Yeah, it is. I thought something happened there for a minute, but it didn't. Over.
Well, what happened was you keyed up, or was that keyed down, and we heard some great plate modulated audio. Oh, one little thing here before you go. Let me zoom in. When you transmit on your S meter, does it show RF power? That means your meter is going to be somewhere, in the middle or off the edges. And if it does that, does it move? Does it show your modulation wiggle meter stuff? Over.
Oh, yeah. It keys down a little bit over 9 and it swings over to the 30. Or 10. No, it's RF is at the bottom of the top. That's receive up on top, yeah. Yeah, on the bottom, it keys up, about maybe a 4, and swings up to the 5.
All right, well, definitely swings up to 4 or 5 around here and sounds pretty darn good. You are Radio 6 General Radio Telephone. It is a good thing. Over.
Yeah, but I look on my meters over here, and it keys up about 5, and it swings up to almost 20.
Well, again, it doesn't have the strap, which was the plug in the back that takes it up to business band power, and with that, it's got, just like John, like Motor Mall says, if you want to have, extra forward movement, you want to have asymmetrical modulation of 100%, you've got to back the carrier down and give it some headroom, and that radio is doing all that.
Oh, yeah, well, right there, I keyed down. At 5, and make it about 16 it's going to. I was looking at it from the other angle, it showed 20, but I'm looking at dead on. It goes up to about 16.
20.
All right, going up to a 16. 20 is ready to go. So thank you, Chris, for jumping in with the General Radio Telephone. And I'm trying to get as many radios in as I can before my wacky noise comes in and messes up my receive. So let's go to Radio 7, and Harvey is at the microphonium. Over.
Oh, okay. This is the Cobra Cam 88. Got the original one. Sean had. This is another one.
Well, I was just about to say, did you drive to Sanger? But indeed you didn't, because the Sanger radio, the radio that you had last week is now in Sanger. So you have a new Cobra Cam 88, or you have an old Cobra Cam 88 that is new to us. Take a transmission.
Yeah, I do have the modulator on, so I can be heard. It's a Cobra Cam 88, kind of like his, but not the same. It's not my Cobra Cam 88 that I normally have, that you haven't heard in years. It's not here, it's in storage. but this one was for sale and is already sold. And the person that's going to get it should be listening. Anyway, this is with the range boost or Dynaboost off. And now the Dynaboost is on. So there you go. The Dynaboost was off and now is on.
Wow. And it's definitely Dynaboosting, and it was also adding some good low frequencies in there. Again, this is, if you want to do some high fidelity audio, here's a radio that will, if you want to put in some sub 100 hertz frequencies, this radio will probably pass them and pass them well. So even if you want to run a stock microphone or your microphone flavor of choice, the CAM88 Cobra is going to do a good job for you. I'll do a frequency check here on your next transmission. It sounds good. Over.
Okay.
There are 10 transmitters, also 2 transistors
for the power supply, mainly for DC. At 0850 or 0851.
As far as I can tell, I've got the stock original hand mic. As best I can tell, the hand mic operates at about
85%, but it's stock and works, so it's going with the radio.
All right, speaking of going with the radio, let's get back to the control. You know, when I was doing the zero beat, I actually, you are real close. If I go right into 85, I hear you just fine. If I go up, I immediately start getting the zero beat tone. So I have to go down to like 84.95, but you are super close. Over.
Well, that's the idea. Now, I can't say that for the other channels. Some of them are off, but that's the nature of the beast. Anyway, everything works on this, the PA and the Dynaboost. There's a new modulation light in there and such, and I've gone through the tubes. All the caps have been replaced, electrolytics. So it's ready to go and be shipped off as soon as he says so.
All right, it's got great full audio, good fidelity. So yeah, that radio really needs a nice microphone, or like I said, if somebody's into the Voodoo audio rack or just high fidelity, they are going to be pleased with it. It's right on frequency channel 11. So when they are beaconing, trying to get into the old tube radio network, Net Control will not have to use their magic fingers to find them on frequency. Radio number 7 from B&K Cobra, yet another CAM88 that is ready to beacon out and go out into the old tube radio world and maybe be heard by all of us here in Central California. Thank you, Harvey. Over.
Alrighty. I think Sean should have been using the same type mic, stock hand mic, and I think his Dynaboost was probably on because him being way out there Sanger, he probably had it on. I don't think he mentioned it, but if he's still there, he might let you know.
Yeah, it was probably on because he was. We put the S meter up when he was talking. It was like right in the noise, but his audio was coming through just fine. I was surprised to see that it wasn't moving out of the noise level. So man, if he didn't have the Dynaboost on, probably didn't need it. But I'm sure it was on. All right, we'll be counting and mounting. There's still a little more time before the static monster comes through here in the Net Control area. So if you need to check in of any flavor, we will get you then. And is it okay now? I'm just checking. Is it okay now to go over to the Jingle Singers? And they're saying yes. So let's give it a shot here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Wow!
magic numbers.
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters.
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
Counting and amounting and listening.
Well, we probably have time for a couple others.
This is the time for a couple of others. Frequency, go ahead.
Roger, the Golden Beagle, R68T68 by Browning Laboratories.
The Golden Beagles, I count an amount here. Let me clear the rigs. And boy, I could sure tell that ping. That is just, it is so unscratchy and very melodic. I figured it definitely had to be the Beagle.
Roger. And I do have the modulator on. So if you hear a hum in the Cam 88 or this one, that's probably why. Okay, I've got one more to do.
All right, and interestingly enough, from prior episodes months back, where indeed we heard a hum and you had to do the modulator dance with your hands and moving coaxes, it really is not bad at all, if even noticeable. So something has changed for the good.
Wow, that's too much. There we go. This is the Bagel with the sweeter pink.
Wait a minute, key up again.
See how the ping is a little higher pitched?
Yeah, I mean, they're both not bad. I'm not sure. When you keyed the first time on the Beagle, I thought it was very... You know, where's 47? He might even have perfect pitch. It was very good. They're both good. I can't fault either of them.
Well, I don't want to fault them either. Okay, the Golden Bagel by Browning Laboratories. No cream cheese, no locks, just plain.
All right, or as we have, and I'm going to get some in moments, the cinnamon now you got me messed up. The cinnamon raisin. It has been a long, long day. The cinnamon raisin bagels are ready to go, and it sounds good. And yeah, there's an audio flavored difference as well. I think the Beagle's just got a little bit more clarity. All right, you've got Radio 8 and Radio 9, the R68 T68 combos there. Thank you.
You bet. Catch you next week.
All right, let's see. The Jingle Singers are ready to do what they do best at the end of the program.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
Okay, let me do one last call before we wrap it up here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Hey, all right, that'll work. That gives us double-digit radios, and hopefully I got to get you in before my noise kicks in. So, 14, go ahead, over. All right, and I thought so as well, because the audio is very nice. What you do have now, I would say, is the latest and greatest, or is it the newest and bluest? It's the Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV, over. Okay, cool, and you got it in before my noise came in and did bad things. Radio 10, The Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV from all the way in Sangertown. Thanks for giving it a key up. All right, from two-piece, a lot of two-piece radios today. I've definitely taken the items of interest from pings to bings. It has been pretty good. Let me not dally any further.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
The current and final OTR totals here on a Saturday evening for, what is it, the 8th of October 2022. Can you believe we were playing that theme and doing this back in October 8th of whenever, 1987? Checking in different radios, the same radios, different people. There have been a lot of people that have stopped by the old tube radio receiver, and likewise the old tube radio air chair. I am just one of the many. We have, and I didn't, because I got so excited about radios, I didn't totally count things. I'll be right back. You know, like really, that real fancy old tube radio network, they have like 9 or 10 people that count these for you. Actually, we do pretty good. I have a great crew here. We've got the old tube radio facilities where there's plenty to eat. The patio swimming. I think it's just this little hovel here in the air chair where things go wrong. All right, counting and mounting back in a second. And I'm checking. Yeah, the noise did come up. It doesn't seem to be as bad this week. But it's there. It's over at S6. Because I was listening to I think Paul and Sean were down at S5, and we could hear them just perfectly. Let's see. On the SWL side, we had 18 checking in on page 1, 12 on page 2, 15 on page 3, 24 on page 4, for a total of 69 joining us. And of course, as I always say and always remind you, don't have to be on any list or have a number to stop by, say hello radio, check in, have a great time if you can on the old tube radio network. We're happy to have you in whatever venue, whether it's on the air live or on the video side or on the oldtuberadio.net side, maybe even Echolink. Join us, won't you? On the radios tonight, we ended up with 10 radios. The most heard manufacturer was Browning with 1, 2, 3, 4. But what was interesting, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 10 radios were transmitter-receiver combinations. Here is the rundown for your tube radio pleasure. Starting off with the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, Mr. Ed, SWL7 jumping in with that, always sounding good on the standard banana style microphonium. From Demco, ring the bell, JT, wherever you are. The Demco satellite with the Magic Eye tube for October. Thank you, Green Arrow, from that. He promises yet another spooky radio for next week, so stay tuned. Out of Sanger on the beginning of the double play, the Cobra Cam 88. Sounding good and looking good on the Sanger radio shelf. Thank you for radio number 3. From North Fork, Paul on the Buddy bass, the RX-11B, TX-11B, infamous and rare, with some modifications that maybe nobody else has, but Paul on the Buddy bass. Always love to hear the Buddies. They have their own little clandestine fan club out there, the people who would wait and look for those radios. If there was a voodoo radio, because there are voodoo audio radios in the amateur radio world, but if there was a voodoo radio that you could modify and do all sorts of cool things to get the audio to sound good, the Buddy bass would definitely be the one. Radio number 5, Mr. Ed on the Tram TR-27E. You gotta be green occasionally. The General Radio Telephone Super MC-11A, beautiful downtown Burbank by way of North Fresno. Thanks, Chris, for that. Harvey with the triple play, the B&K Cobra Cam 88. Doing a little peek and tweak and a little road test. And apparently that radio is going to be heading out somewhere. I don't know if we'll be able to hear it where it's going, but somebody will, because I know they'll put it on the air because it sounds so good. The R68T60, that's the first Golden Eagle back in 1967, I do believe. That is the Beagle version of the Eagle. Radio 9, the Bagel version of the Eagle. The R68T68, and then, as you heard moments ago, Sanger again on the classic Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV. Total of 10 radios tonight. I don't have a final. And anybody have a final? I'm not sure I want to hear it. Anybody have a final Bulldog score? Over. And maybe it is not quite time to have a final Bulldog score. I think they said they were playing up in Boise.
Yeah, we have got a score for you. Unfortunately, it's Boise 40, Fresno State 20.
Oh man, all right. Something went awry. Were they up in Boise?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Doggone it. Yeah, they got stuck at 20 around halftime. Couldn't get off it, and 40 just came up on them. 2 or 3 plays, Boise, and they were at 40, and they just find them right now.
All right, it's going to be a long drive home, but the Bulldogs have a lot of good supporters here in Fresno, and they will drive to Boise. They will drive to Ogden up in Utah. They will drive down to L.A. A few of them, especially when the Bulldogs are doing well, will head out to Hawaii. So those have great support here from the fans in Fresno, as do we here on the Old Tube Radio Network. All right, always a winner, no matter what happens here on Old Tube Radio. 73, everybody, make sure you get on the air if you can. What was the other thing? Oh, I was going to say, if you are studying, as I always say, if you're studying for your amateur radio license, keep doing so. The bands are getting super duper good, and I guarantee you, when you turn on your 11-meter radio in the future, and it's just solid S20 or 20 dB over S9, no matter what channel you go, you'll be able to say, "Oh, wait a minute," and you'll put on your little homebrew 10-meter dipole that you made for $1.92, and you will go to the land of 10 meters where there's plenty of space in which to take a transmission. But you won't forget to come back and join us here on the Old Tube Radio Network on a Saturday evening. 73, good night to you all. The Old Tube Radio Network, back next week. And of course, the honking proboscis of Bozo Control. Good night, everybody. Before I totally go, let's get out of the noise that is 11 meters here. And see if anything's happening on the other bands before we jump out of here tonight. Let's open up the RF game. Head over to the vertical antenna. Not hearing much on the 20-meter FT8, but I'm hearing something there.
Hello. It's a nice evening and enjoy the radio tonight. Back over to you, Peter. W5, I think it's PS, with WA5JMZ, ZL2 Sugar Delta X-ray, over.
ZL2, all right, so we got some New Zealand coming in. So the Australia-New Zealand we heard earlier coming in on the gray line here on the west coast has now the maximum use of frequency moved down to 20 meters, but kind of down on my noise. I don't have a beam antenna, but that's on.
Studio beam. I'm running a kilowatt from a parent OM4000 with a combiner feature.
You can hear he says he's running a kilowatt from New Zealand, beaconing into the west coast here on 14259. The 20-meter amateur radio band has some very nice audio. Let's see, where else do we want to go? Let's see.
Really well. I have some issues when I first did. Particularly in the Katrina thing to find out all the conflict.
Let's see if we've got anything on 40 meters tonight. My noise level is kind of high. Typically, the band has been shutting down by 9 o'clock. And that is the case here. And then not much going on 75 meters as well. All right. In fact, that's interesting. I'm hearing a bleed through from the broadcast stations. All right, good night, everybody. Your old Tube Radio Network saying have a great week. And likewise, Captain Robert, we will have a safe weekend ahead. The honking proboscis will get us through anything. We'll catch you next week on OTR. Good night, everybody.